Communicating with residents with ADRD. Comprehension is impaired. Reasoning and logic have no power. Words lose their meaning. May be disoriented to time and place. Frustration increases for you and the resident. Communication with a person with Alzheimer's requires patience, understanding, and good listening skills. Alzheimer's disease and other dementias gradually diminish a person's ability to communicate. Communication with a person with Alzheimer's requires patience, understanding, and good listening skills. Changes in the ability to communicate can vary and are based on the person and where he or she is in the disease process. Problems you can expect to see throughout the progression of the disease include difficulty finding the right words, using familiar words repeatedly, describing familiar objects rather than calling them by name, easily losing a train of thought, difficulty organizing words logically, reverting to speaking a native language, speaking less often, relying on gestures more than speaking. In the early stage of Alzheimer's disease, sometimes referred to as the mild stage, an individual is still able to participate in meaningful conversation and engage in social activities. However, he or she may repeat stories, feel overwhelmed by excessive stimulation, or have difficulty finding the right word. Tips for successful communication include: don't make assumptions about the person's ability to communicate because of the diagnosis. This disease affects each person differently. Don't exclude the person with the disease from conversations. Speak directly to the person rather than to their companion. Take the time to listen to the person express his or her thoughts, feelings, and needs. Give the person time to respond. Don't interrupt unless help is requested. Ask the person if they're still comfortable doing what he or she may need help with. Discuss which method of communication is most comfortable. It's okay to laugh. Sometimes humor lightens the mood and makes communication easier. Don't pull away. Honesty, friendship, and support are important to the person. How AD affects communication. Loss of ability to follow directions, emotional instability, poor judgment, inability to remember words or names, using familiar words repeatedly, reverts back to native language, difficulty organizing words, loses their train of thought, withdrawal, suspiciousness. Strategies and guidelines for verbal communication. Best ways to communicate. Talk slowly. Introduce yourself. One thing at a time. Avoid slang. Be patient. Praise and encourage. Turn questions into answers. Avoid confusing statements. Alzheimer's is typically the longest and can last for many years. As the disease progresses, the person will have greater difficulty communicating and will require more direct care. Tips for successful communication. Engage the person in one-on-one conversation in a quiet space that has minimum distractions. Speak slowly and clearly. Maintain eye contact. It shows that you care about what he or she is saying. Give the person plenty of time to respond so he or she can think about what to say. Be patient and offer reassurance. It may encourage the person to explain his or her thoughts. Ask one question at a time. Ask yes or no questions. For example, would you like some coffee, rather than what would you like to drink? Avoid criticizing or correcting. Instead, listen and find something and some meaning in what the person says. Repeat what was said to clarify. Avoid arguing. If the person says something you don't agree with, let it be. Offer clear step-by-step instructions for tasks. Lengthy requests may be overwhelming. Give visual cues. Demonstrate a task to encourage participation. Written notes can be helpful when spoken words seem confusion. More ways to communicate. Say the right name. Make a positive statement. Smile. Be specific. Explain what's going to happen. In the late stages, this can last from several weeks to several years. The person may rely on nonverbal communication such as facial expressions or vocal sounds. Around-the-clock care is usually required in this stage. Tips for successful communication. Approach the person from front and identify yourself. Encourage nonverbal communication. If you don't understand what the person is trying to ask him or her to point or gesture. Use touch, sights, sounds, smells, and taste as form of communication with the person. Consider the feelings behind words or sounds. Sometimes the emotions being expressed are more important than what is being said. Treat the person with dignity and respect. Avoid talking down to the person as if he or she isn't there. It's okay if you don't know what to say. Your presence and friendships are most important. Nonverbal communication guidelines and strategies. Watch your body language. Encourage unspoken communication. Remove distractions. Use multiple senses to convey your message. Go slowly. Use positive reinforcement. Validation therapy and its usefulness in communicating with residents with Alzheimer's. Validation therapy is a way to approach older adults with empathy and understanding. It is often used to comfort and reassure people who are living with Alzheimer's disease or another kind of dementia. The basic idea behind validation therapy is that people who are in late stages of life may have unresolved issues that drive their behaviors and emotions. The way caregivers or family members respond to these behaviors and emotions can either make them worse or help resolve them. Validation therapy is more than simply validating a person's feelings, although that is one component of it. Validation therapy focuses on helping the person work through the emotions behind challenging behaviors. These behaviors are viewed essentially as a way to communicate those emotions, especially in people with memory loss, confusion, disorientation, and other symptoms of dementia. Imagine that your mother who has Alzheimer's disease is living with you in their home and frequently calls out for her own mother. According to the Validation Training Institute, people who practice validation therapy can use the following techniques in that situation. Center yourself. Take a deep breath and slow down. Your initial reaction may be to try to use logic with your own mother, who is 92 years old, when they start calling out loudly for her mother. But before you react, think and breathe. Ask your mother what her mom was like and what she misses about her. Share a memory about your grandmother with your mother and allow her to express her loneliness. Ask her if she always misses her mother or what she misses about her mother. This can allow her to process these feelings of grief related to losing her mother. Join with your mother in her feelings. Acknowledge the sadness of losing her mother and that special relationship they had together. Rephrasing her feelings back to her can provide reassurance that you understand and feeling her loss. You can say, "You must really miss your mother." That can decrease her anxiety because she hears you expressing what she is feeling. You can use senses. Ask questions about her mother. For example, ask about her favorite food and how her mother cooked it, how it smelled, or how pretty her mother looked all dressed up for church on Sunday mornings. How effective is validation therapy? Research is mixed when it comes to conclusions about effectiveness of validation therapy. Different studies conducted on validation therapy have different conclusions, with some stating that it's effective and others determining that is no more helpful than a placebo. One study conducted in a long-term care facility in Germany used a variation of validation therapy called integrative validation therapy, developed by Nicole Richard. Integrated validation therapy prescribes certain attitudes and actions in response to the person's feelings and behaviors. Research found that agitation levels of residents were decreased with integrated validation therapy, and that caregivers felt positive about using this with the residents. There are many instances in which validation therapy has worked very well, and others where it did not, and only succeeded in irritating the person. You can find more information about this on verywellhealth.com. Using environmental cues to signal the message. Acknowledge and respond to what is important to the resident. The more familiar, the more reassuring it is. Employ reminiscing. Instead of ask questions, start your sentence with, "Tell me about." Reminiscing is when someone shares memories from the past. Typically with an Alzheimer's and dementia person, they lose short-term memory first, but still are able to recall old memories. The goal of reminiscence therapy is to help seniors with dementia feel valued, contented, and peaceful. It can't reverse or stop the progression of dementia, but the stress reduction and positive feelings can improve your older adult's mood, reduce agitation, and minimize challenging behaviors like wandering. Reminiscent therapy can give seniors with dementia a feeling of success and confidence because it's something they're still able to do. It gives them an opportunity to talk or share something meaningful rather than just listen. Talking about happy memories of the past also brings joy, which is especially helpful if your older adult is having a hard time with everyday living. It helps them cope with stress. Reminiscing is not the same as asking someone to remember something from the past. Remembering something specific can be stressful for someone with dementia because they're likely to feel pressure to put on the spot. In contrast, when a pleasant memory floats up and they share it with you, they feel good. For example, your older adult may not remember right away when you ask a simple question like, "Where did you grow up?" But if you're looking through old photographs, they may spontaneously say, like, "Oh, look, there's my house." You never know which memories will come up when reminiscing about the past. Sometimes a painful or unhappy memory will surface. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you'll need to respond with kindness and understanding. The goal of reminiscing activities is to enjoy time and set the stage so your senior has a chance to talk about any memories that come up. For best results, plan a time of the day when they're most interested in activities, maybe earlier in the day. Choose a quiet, comfortable location where they'll be able to hear and see you well. If your older adult doesn't recall any memories during the activity, that's okay. Maybe nothing came at that moment. You could offer comments about yourself that might help spark a memory for them. Some reminiscent activities could be listening to their favorite music. Music helps people relate to emotions and past experiences. Look through photos or keepsakes. Pictures or keepsakes that bring back memories are an excellent way to reminisce. Photos of family and friends are always a good choice. Smell familiar scents and taste favorite foods. Smell is a powerful way to access memories. Taste is another way to evoke fond memories. Maybe there's always a special dish for holiday celebrations. You can make it for them. Enjoy tactile activities like painting, pottery, or other crafts. Touch can also remind someone of the past. Familiar tactile activities like drawing, painting, Pottery, knitting, sewings, and other crafts can spark old memories. Even if they can't participate in these hobbies anymore, doing things like touching paintbrushes, swirling watercolors, or playing with fabrics can evoke strong memories. Another way is to use touch through objects. Maybe wearing or handling favorite pieces of jewelry or accessories would bring up memories of life events. Reminiscing is another way to connect with seniors with dementia. These activities are fun and have extra benefits of stimulating memories and meaningful conversations. Everyone is different, and some people might not respond by recalling happy memories, but these are safe and inexpensive ways to boost mood and reduce anxiety. It's a great technique and it's worth experimenting with. Reinforce and empathize. Compassionate communication. Keep your tone warm and gentle. Agree with them. Be sensitive to religion and cultural beliefs. Arguing is pointless. Acknowledge their feelings. Always redirect, agree, distract. Never reason, argue, or shame. Communicating with non-responsive residents. They may need praise or positive reinforcement, may be in pain, may have discomfort, may have moments of clarity, may become scared if they overhear you say something to another person in their presence. Be understanding. Be patient. Remain calm. Encourage and praise. Watch your tone.